Hey everyone, welcome back to AFTV. Welcome to the preview with me and Robbie. It is the Europa League. It's the second leg. It's Sporting, and it's here at our beautiful 60,000-seater stadium on Thursday night in the Europa League, the home of football, the home of the best football we've seen, certainly in the Premier League this season. But last week against Sporting, we saw glimpses of it, a bit shaky at the back, and we're not going to want that this week.
Yeah. You know, I mean, we made a lot of changes last week, obviously, because we had a very difficult game against Fulham coming up at that weekend, and I was all for those changes that we made, because I looked on it and I said to myself, if we don't get it done over there in Lisbon, we can bring them back home, put out a stronger team and get the job done. But I think you saw, you know, I mean, we were a bit shaky, you know what I mean? Matt Turner in goal, a bit shaky. Kivior at the back making his debut. I think a bit of nerves played, you know what I mean, with him, you know what I mean, some good bits, but a few bits that he wouldn't want to look back at that set piece again. So we looked a bit shaky, but then having said that, going forward, we looked good.
Yeah, we did, yeah.
We could have scored more goals. They could have scored more goals, but we could have scored more goals as well.
Yeah.
It was a very, very open game. It really was. But I think 2-2 is probably a fair result overall. And now we bring them back here, and hopefully we get the job done and get into that next round of the Europa League on Friday. Yeah,
I thought Sporting were fairly impressive, actually. I mean, I saw them in the Champions League against Tottenham. I thought they were unlucky not to qualify at that group, actually. There's some talented players. They've got, you know, a young manager that plays good football, and they cause us some problems. It'll be very interesting to see what we get from Sporting in this game. You know, will they drop more into their shape? Will they be a bit more difficult to break down? And, you know, will it be like the away leg, where it's actually been very open at the Emirates? Everyone who's come here, we've actually given them chances. So I wonder what it'll be like.
That has been one of the things that's been a bit weird this season, that we go away from home, apart from that game last week, and we were quite tight. And I mean, we saw at Fulham we kept a clean sheet. At home we're a little bit open. We conceded 2 goals in our last game here against Bournemouth. You know what I mean? Yeah. Being a bit too open at home. And I want to see the defence a bit tighter in that game. I think as well for them, they're going to be missing a couple of key players. A couple of their players picked up like a second yellow, which keeps them out of this game. So that's to our advantage. Sporting will bring a lot of fans. So, you know what I mean, they're well supported. They've got a lot of supporters even in London. I've met a load of, you know, prior to this game, fans that some that support Arsenal and Sporting, you know what I mean? So and when they played against Tottenham, they brought a lot of fans. So they'll be very vocal in the game as well. But we're at home. Let's get the job done. Let's get into that next round.
Let's remind ourselves of the state of play. Obviously, the away leg, we drew 2-2. Then we played Fulham, 2 away games last week. I think we came out of them a very good week. I think we're happy with that. We go into this week with 2 home games. As we mentioned, Sporting here Thursday night, Palace on the Sunday, and then an international break where we don't kick a football until we come back here again to play Leeds in the Premier League. Now, you add all that, the return of Gabriel Jesus, Trossard back far earlier than we thought he would be. We thought he might be out for the international break. Smith Rowe available now. Vieira, Odegaard back from illness. Tierney back from illness. There is a serious squad. I mean, we had, so from the 11, add 5, so we had 16 players play against Fulham, and that didn't include Smith Rowe, Jorginho and Nketiah. The squad is looking very healthy, Robbie, and now we've got to see and predict what we think the 11 will look like considering all these things.
Yeah, listen, 100%. That's one of the beauties of what's happening at the moment, is the return of a lot of the injured players. You know what I mean? All of a sudden, you know, we've got a lot of players vying for places. We've got a very, very good squad. And, you know, I'm really excited to see what the starting 11 is going to be. I was saying managed to catch up with Edu on Monday. And that's one of the things I was saying to him. You know, you put together a really good squad now, you know. So, who's going to start in this game? I think we go stronger than last week. I really do, because, as I said last week, difficult game away from home against Fulham. We had to make changes, keep some of those players back and keep them fresh. This week, both of our games are at home. Even the game against Palace, we obviously play Thursday, but they play on Wednesday night as well. And they've got a pretty difficult game away from home against Brighton, which is tricky, their deadly rivals. So that's a really tough game for them. So it's not like they would have had loads more rest than us. Then we've got them at home. So I think this is an opportunity, and like you said, we're going into that international break, so we can really give it hard in these next 2 games, and then say to players, right, chill out for the next couple of weeks until we come back for that game against Leeds, which also is back at home. So for me, I want to see us Thursday night, go strong and get the job done, and then go strong again on Sunday.
I echo all of that. Now, we're going to build our predicted 11. It's going to be a little bit of what we kind of want, but also what we think Arteta's going to go with. We want to know what you would do for this game against Sporting. Now, to do that, just go to the AFTV Plus app, which I've got right here. As you can see, it's access to Fan Zone as well. So after the game, we'll be live on full time, and you can jump on and literally live give your thoughts. If you haven't seen it, you want to check it out. It's honestly some superb technology.
And it's free.
And it's free, yeah.
Free.
Yeah, I always forget to mention that.
Free
at
the all of the normal places, at the Apple Store, and that, just free to download. Got on it, build your team, and also tag us in, so that we, the good ones we're going to tag up on Insta, right? So tag us into them, but yeah, let's build it. Let's build it. So this is really interesting for me, what this starting 11 is going to be. Yeah. I wonder if anybody's going to be able to predict what's in Mikel Arteta's head.
I think it's getting harder and harder every week to predict what he's going to go with. But we've got the app open here. As you can see, we scroll past the game we've got. You've got your pick 10, 11 selector, player rater. Going to hit that 11 selector there. Now let's do it. In goal.
In goal. I'm going to stick with Matt Turner. I thought he was a little bit shaky last week.
Yep.
There was a couple of times, kicking the ball out, nearly got caught. Mind you, so did Ramsdale in the game against Fulham. But throughout the tournament so far, he's not really let us down. So even though he's had one bad game, and he did actually pull off a couple of decent saves in the game as well. I'll stick with Matt Turner. I know what you think. Yeah?
Yeah. Got to stick with Matt Turner. I think he did really well in the Europa League groups. Before, I think maybe that Zurich game a little, but otherwise he's largely done really well for us. Had a really good World Cup. Yeah, I'll stick with Matt Turner. Absolutely. Okay, right back gets interesting because Tomiyasu, he did really well when he came on a left back against Sporting, but he didn't do well in his start against Bournemouth.
Yes,
and that's at right back. So but then you can't forget how good Tomiyasu was for us last season, and obviously he's not had a run of games. So do we give him?
I'd start Tomiyasu, rest Ben White, who looked very tired at the end of the game against Fulham.
And Sporting in the away leg
Sporting as well. Yeah. But
poor guy needs a rest.
I don't think he would have played in that game against Sporting had Tierney been fit, right? So for this game, I trust Tomiyasu. I know he's had a couple of shaky games, the United game, the Bournemouth game, but I trust him. Let's bring him in from the start. This guy we're going to need to rely on a lot between now and the end of the season as well. In he comes for me.
I will say, for all the little performances I mentioned where he's not been at his best, when he came in at the Etihad in the Cup game when we rotated, he did really well. So, okay.
Came on, did all right against Fulham as well.
We moved to centre-back. Now, he went with Saliba and Kivior in the away leg, which I was really happy to see because that's our £20 million new signing. Felt Saliba needed the minutes. I actually think Saliba's really benefited from that. He's had two really good games back-to-back.
Brilliant against Fulham.
But what would you do for this game? We said we might go a bit stronger.
Yeah, so at first I was thinking I'd probably leave Kivior out for this one. He had a bit of a shaky game. It happens. It's his debut. Got caught a bit for the that goal we conceded against the set piece. His time will come, but we need to go pretty strong in defence, right? In particular, I want that defence solid. I don't want us conceding goals like what we've been doing recently. I was thinking to put Rob Holding in, and I've got a feeling that Arteta could put Rob Holding in. But I'm going to go Saliba and Gabriel.
Okay,
I
strong.
Want both. Yeah, I want both of them in there from the start.
What's the reason? Because one of the things we were talking about when it comes to those centre-backs is what might be in front of them.
Right, so my reasoning is, without giving away the next position, is that there's a certain player in front of them that I want to leave out. Right, so
we'll come to that.
That's why I need those two behind very strong. So that's why I'm going Saliba and Gabriel.
Well, let's talk about left back then.
Kieran Tierney for me. Again, Zinchenko, he's played a lot of games recently. He's been brilliant, but I want him fresh and firing for that game against Crystal Palace. Tierney, I think, would have played last week had he not been sick. He's recovered now. He came on against Fulham. Need to get some games under his belt, you know what I mean? And we've also got, let's remember that with all these positions, we've got the insurance that we can have all of those guys on the bench. They ain't had to do no travelling, and if it ain't working, we bring Zinchenko on.
Yep, agreed.
So Tierney for me.
Okay, so we move into midfield, and you alluded to something there.
Right.
I'm going to guess it's to do with the holding midfielder for the game.
Thomas Partey. Now I'm leaving Thomas Partey out of this game, and that's why I've gone with the two best centre backs. just for that added protection with Jorginho, just because he doesn't quite have the pace of a Partey and the physicality. But for me, I would start Jorginho in this game. We're at home. We're probably going to be on the front foot most of the time. We've seen him be very creative. We've seen him be very good.
He's done really well for us
since he's come in. And I would start him in this game, definitely. Jorginho. Thomas Partey, I want rested up and ready for Sunday, because that game will be a little, Palace a bit physical in that midfield. They've got a lot of good little technicians. We need them snuffed out by Thomas Partey. We need that midfield dominated. So Partey for Sunday.
Yeah.
But for tomorrow, I would have Jorginho.
I wholeheartedly echo that. I think Jorginho has done really well, but I think when you've got a high line that's able to squeeze up, make the gap between the striker and the centre-back small, that's where Jorginho does his best work. It's when it's an open game, in transition. Rob Holding, he tried, I get it, but he's not got the pace and recovery of a Saliba and Gabriel. Yeah. So you want that right protection. So I'm there on that. And Jorginho has done really well for us. He deserves to play this game. So who's either side of Jorginho then?
Either side of him. Granit Xhaka is a machine. He can play every game, that guy.
Yeah.
So Granit Xhaka and Fabio Vieira, I thought did really well last week, and I've liked him since you can see he's growing in confidence as a player. He's very creative and. I want to rest Odegaard and have him full energy for that game as well. But Fabio Vieira starts this one for me.
And I think Vieira's made a handful of really impressive appearances. I mean, I thought he did well in the Sporting game away. I thought he looked good when he came on against Fulham, combined well with Jesus. And I think he's growing into it more.
He's growing in confidence, this player. I've said it all along, we're going to see the best of him next season. Yeah. But he's getting to know the Premier League. He's getting to know the the Emirates Stadium and that. The fans are getting to know him. I think the fans are starting to really like him as well. Yeah. Fabio Vieira in from the start for me.
Okay, so we move to the front three, and look, I'm not going to mess around with this one because the obvious discussions around Jesus. Now, the last preview I did, I looked a complete idiot. I said to Turkish, there's just no way we'll see minutes against Fulham. I'm not even talking 5, 6, 7 minutes. He got a whole 20, 25 out there.
Yeah.
Nearly scored,
minutes.
Looked really bright.
Looked sharp, looked nice little turns and sharp. And
are we really going to be talking about him starting this game?
I want to see him start the game. Yes, I would. If he's fully fit now, start the game. Listen, we can take him off if later on. But we want to get minutes in him. You know what I mean? I don't think I'd start him on the weekend in the Palace game. But in this game, I'll start him. Starting in right from the beginning. He's chomping at the bit. He looked sharp last week. And I think right down the middle, Gabriel Jesus. I don't think Sporting will want to be facing him either. It will give the crowd a huge lift. Yeah. You saw, you was at the game. When he came on, I don't think I've seen a player come back from injury and get a reception like that. Unbelievable. Imagine the lift it's going to give to this place. Because as I said, Sporting will come. They'll bring a lot of fans. They'll be loud. But when it's announced at the start, Jesus in that lineup, fans will be buzzing to see him. Because that game last week when he came on was at Fulham. He's at home now, starting from the start. Yeah,
look, it feels too soon, but I'm with you. And like I said on Forever Arsenal, I think they held him back till he was actually match sharp. I don't mean match fit. I don't mean that his knee could hack it. I think he's actually been fit and ready to play for a while.
I heard a little, HP sauce. Right. Right. He's been fit for about a month, is what I've heard.
Wow.
And been training with the first team, and maybe they ain't really showed the videos and that. He's ready. Right from the start. You could see last week that didn't look like a player that was sort of just easing his way back. He was straight in. In from the start for me.
Okay, fine. Jesus leads the line. So either side of him, what are you going to do?
Right, either side of him, Martinelli, to me, starts. Okay. He's on a rich vein of form. Remember, we need to win the game. Let's not forget that. So we need goals. He's scoring goals now. Was it 5 in 5? Or 4 in 5, something like that?
12 in the league alone.
Yeah. But he's been on fire recently. You know what I mean? He nearly scored goal of the season last week over there at Sporting as well. Right, in from the start for me. Gabby will get us goals, right? So he's got to be in from the start. And on the other side, on the right-hand side, Saka in from the start for me as well. I wanted him rested last week. But for me, in from the start. You know what I mean? We need to win this game. Let's not forget that. It's 2-2. There's no away goals don't come into this one. We need to win it. We want to be in that hat on Friday. That front three needs to be strong. I wouldn't bring in Trossard from the start because I want Trossard to start at the weekend and probably pull back Gabriel for that. Or, you never know, Gabriel Jesus has a brilliant game and scores a hat-trick and we say, right, we've got to keep him in.
It's a great problem.
But obviously, you know, he is still coming back, so maybe 2 games in a week might be too much. But I start him in this one. Saka, who just won an award on Monday, you know what I mean? So he's chomping at the bit. And Gabriel Martinelli on the other side, chomping at the bit. And I think that team is a strong team. Then you've got a strong bench. You've still got Smith Rowe on the bench. You've still got Trossard on the bench. You know what I mean? Zinchenko's on the bench. Odegaard's on the bench.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Partey.
You know, Thomas Partey's on the bench. If it ain't going right, get him on.
Yeah.
So...
yeah, very true.
I think all these players coming back has just
still
all
got
of
Eddie
a sudden
to add to this as well.
Changed the dynamic, and then we've got Eddie to come back hopefully after the international break. So
it's a really, really good group of players. I've got to be honest, I agree with this first 11. We're going to go through it again in one sec. I would go for Nelson over Saka, however, just because as a football Saka's played and Nelson's really impressed.
But I think I kind of like Nelson on that left-hand side.
I agree. He looks
kind of coming in on his right foot, you know what I mean?
He does look better out on the left, I agree. But in the Martinelli one, I agree. With Trossard coming in, he's been subbed off a few times. It makes sense he plays this game. So let's remind everyone of the 11 that we built on the AFTV Plus app. Turner in goal, Tomiyasu at right back with Saliba and Gabriel, Tierney at left back. Of course, those were our 2 starting fullbacks last year. It's amazing that White and Zinchenko have done so well that it makes you think, do you even want to bring those 2 in? But that is the depth we have right now. Vieira, Jorginho and Xhaka as the midfield 3 with Saka, Jesus and Martinelli. The front 3 restored, but then you're still talking about, as you mentioned, Trossard, Smith Rowe, Nelson, Eddie. The options are, I mean, they're really impressive, and it's great to see for Arsenal.
We can keep this squad fit from now till the end of the season. We can definitely fight on both fronts.
Yeah. But
first of all, before we talk about that, we've got to get the job done Thursday night.
Absolutely.
And I think we will do.
So what's your prediction?
I'm going 3-1. 3-1 to
I went 3-1 as well. I think, but one of those cagier kind of, we might have to work hard for it at first, but maybe once we get that second,
have to work hard. They're a good side.
They are good. No, they are. Trust me, I didn't want them in this draw.
They're a good side, but I think we're better. So 3-1.
Okay, fine. I've gone 3-1. Robbie's gone for 3-1. Don't forget, you can build your 11s, but guys, don't just build your 11s and, you know, enjoy it yourself. Share it on social media. Tag us. Let us know. We really want to know. We'll hopefully be able to share some round. Maybe go through some of the starting 11 as well. Interact with you guys on socials to find out what you would go with for this game. It is a big game. I know we're focused on the Premier League. I know that, you know, that's what everyone's talking about, and it'd be amazing to win our first title in 19 years. But we haven't won a European trophy in a long time as well. And the Europa League, it's there. It's possible. And I think Arteta, honestly, I think he wants to compete on all fronts. I think the players do as well. So let us know what you would go with for the starting 11, your predictions as well. And don't forget to follow all our coverage of the game before, during and after the match on AFTV on Thursday evening. Big thanks for joining us. Hit the like button if you did enjoy it, and we'll see you very, very soon.
Shop for AFTV merch at shop.aftv.co.uk. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Snapchat and Twitch. We've got content for every platform, so check it out.